In this demo, I'm going to show you the beginning of one of the later levels in the game, which is called Strike on Tulagi. In this mission, I've got to clear the enemy installations from the island in order for my landing craft to come in and take the island later in the level. I've got the squadron of B-17s in the air, and just below them there you can see my aircraft carrier. My aircraft carrier I can launch planes from. I can launch torpedo planes, dive bombers and fighters. On the left hand side there, just up ahead, you can see I've got a destroyer, and just over here to the right I have another destroyer. Well, the first thing I have to do is launch some planes, get them in the air. I can do that by hitting the right bumper button on the Xbox pad, and that'll get me into the hangar of the plane. I've got 4 slots in the hangar, which I can launch up to 12 planes. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to launch 4 squadrons of 3. First of all, I'm going to launch a squadron of torpedo planes just by going down into that slot using the D-pad. Now moving into my next hangar using the D-pad, I can launch some dive bombers. And finally, I'm going to launch 2 squadrons of fighters. It's very important to defend your capital ship, as it's going to be the one the enemy is focusing all its attention on, and I do not want to lose my carrier. Okay, I'm going to select one of my destroyers now. There's multiple ways in the game to select individual units. I can either move my reticule over the destroyer and click down, or I could use the D-pad to jump between units. Here's my destroyer. Clicking the green button will find my nearest target in the game. Up in the top left there you can see it's a light cruiser, and it's called the Tama. Hitting the blue button will allow me to give an order to my ship. In this case I'm going to tell them to attack. Hitting up on the D-pad will select that attack order. Now, finally my other destroyer is simple. I just look around and click down, and I'll show you how to sail these units. Using one of the analog sticks, you can use speed up and speed down, and you can see that moving in the bottom right hand corner. And left and right on the analog stick is my rudder. To use my guns on board the ship, I can use the other stick to look around, and wherever I'm looking, that's where I'm firing. Those little lights you can see above the reticule, each of them relates to a gun on board the ship. When they're red and flashing, that means they're reloading, and when they're green, they can fire. If I look around, you can see they're yellow, which indicates they're moving into position, and now once they're in position, again they're green, and I can fire. Changing weapons is as easy as pressing the left trigger button. In this case, I've now selected torpedoes, and I can select depth charges by hitting the left trigger again, and you should see them just roll off the back of the ship and explode just down there in the water. And of course I've got AA guns on board my ship, and again wherever I look, that's where my AA guns will fire. And I'm going to give this unit again an order to attack. Moving back to my torpedo planes, I'm going to select Tama again by hitting the green button. There it is, just over there, and we're going to go on a torpedo run. The planes fly in a very similar manner to the ships sailing. One thumbstick will look around, and wherever you look around, well, that's where you fly, and also where you shoot you want to. The other stick is speed up, speed down, and again you can see my throttle moving there, and left or right on the rudder. I'm going to give an instruction to my squadron to all attack this cruiser. Again, blue button up, very simple. Now with these torpedo planes, they're very important to keep them close to the water, otherwise the torpedo will just shatter as it hits. And I'm going to launch my torpedo right now, and off it goes. That's a direct hit. Now my torpedo planes have launched their main weapon. I could use them as a fighter, but what I'd rather do is send them back to the ship to reload with new torpedoes. So I'm going to give them an instruction by pressing right on the D-pad to land.
Enemy vessel.
Okay, so here we go. I've just pressed the right on the D-pad, and I've jumped to my destroyer, and you can see he's attacking the Tama here. The Tama's damage is up in the top left there. You can see he's taking quite a beating from both of my destroyers, and also of course from my torpedo planes. I can use the orange button there to zoom in using my binoculars, and as my guns reload I can fire them off there. Each of the ships has what we call a sweet spot on it. It's almost like getting a headshot in a first-person shooter. If you can find the right position and hit him right in his armory, you'll do a lot of damage. And as you play through the game, you're going to learn where that position is on each of the ships. Okay, so we've sunk the Tama. Now I'll introduce you to the map screen. Pressing the back button, I can jump into the map, and you can get an overview of everything that's going on in the field. Using the shoulder buttons, I can zoom in on wherever my crosshair is, and I can see I've got both my destroyers here. If I zoom in here, I can see my aircraft carrier with all my planes circling it. In fact, you can see just here I've got my torpedo planes coming into land. If I'll have a look down here, I can see I'm about to get attacked by some planes from the airfield, but I can send my fighters off to intercept them. So hopefully they won't get too close to my carrier. I'm now going to select my B-17s and take them up into attack the airfield. I don't want to do that by flying straight across the enemy. What I'll do is I can select a waypoint just here, and then another one just here, and they'll be in a great position to come straight in over the runway. By selecting my dive bombers, I can now get these guys to attack the shipyard over here. Jumping back to my fighters, I can get to take part in some of the action and try a bit of dogfighting. In Battle Stations Midway, we have a full flight model. You can loop the loop, you can barrel roll, you can stall the planes. It's really good fun, especially in multiplayer. Okay, we've managed to take out the attacking forces. My fighters are very good at doing that. Now I'm going to have a look at the map screen again very quickly. I can have a look at what else is going on. I can see that there's a destroyer bearing down on me just over here to the right. So I'm going to send my destroyer into intercept. And just up there, I'm going to select my other destroyer, and I can see there's another one coming in from up here. It's very important to keep a look at what's going on in the game at any time. If you take your eye off the ball, you may find that you're overrun with the enemy forces. Okay, so let's have a look at my dive bombers. They're getting quite close to the island. If I select them by clicking down there and go off the map screen, I can see they're getting close to the target. Just like the torpedo planes, I can hold the left trigger to change weapon. In this case, I get a bombing reticule coming up. And I can see that I'm getting quite close. Now the dive bombers are quite different to the torpedo planes in the way they attack. Instead of coming in low, they come in high. So once I think I'm getting into a good position, I'm going to send them in to dive. Opening up my bombing reticule, I can get an idea of exactly where my bomb is going to drop. I can see the shipyard just there below me, and I'll fire my bomb. And that's right on target. Now, the dive bomber, again, it's dropped its ordnance now. It's not going to be of much use to me, except again as a fighter, but in this case I want to send it back to the aircraft carrier, and I'm going to give it the order to land. Now my destroyer, you can see it just getting into position to attack this destroyer. I gave it the orders to do that just a few seconds ago. One thing I can have a look at, since the enemy is quite a distance, I can press the orange button to have a look at my binoculars and zoom in. And there you can see it bearing down on me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and sail it a bit closer and use some torpedoes. If I bear around to the left here and change weapons, I've got my torpedoes and I'm going to fire some off into the water at it. And there you can see them heading straight across, and that's a direct hit. And if I move my reticule over, I can see that I've sunk that ship. Moving back to the map screen, I'm going to have a look at my B-17s. I think they should be pretty close to being in position. Just clicking down will select them, and holding the left trigger will open my bomb bay doors. My objective here is to destroy the enemy aircraft hangar, and you can see it selected there right next to the runway. I've got 24 bombs I can drop from here, so we're going to carpet bomb that. We should do a great job of taking out that aircraft hangar. Should I not do a great job, well, I've got another 2 backup planes behind me, each of them going to drop their bombs in that field. Hopefully that will take it out and put it out of commission. That's just a taster of the first few minutes of just one of the single-player missions in Battle Stations Midway. Battle Stations Midway is a large-scale action game recreating the air, sea and undersea battles of World War II, coming soon to Xbox 360 and PC.